So I would love to hear more about your book. Um, and like what are some takeaways that you'd hope readers or scholars would take away from it?
This is the Mothers and Fire book,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So this was a collection of essays that I co-edited with a colleague, Arlene Skutas, who is at the Metropolitan University of Denver. And so we were interested in bringing together both scholars and activists to look at the topic of what shapes mothering and motherhood in conflict areas. And so we wanted to engage with the nature of motherhood and mothering during times of war and in zones that are also experiencing the threat of war. So this idea that it doesn't have to be armed conflict unfolding at the moment, but it could be post-conflict, or it could be people who are doing this mothering work in areas that experience threat of war. And so there is 18 essays written by field practitioners and scholars from different disciplinary perspectives. And one of the contributions of the collection is that it highlights not only the challenges that women who mother experience in this context, but also the ways in which they display agency to challenge and negotiate the circumstances that are oppressive to them. And so the collection was aiming to raise awareness of the needs of women and children in areas affected by military or political violence worldwide, and to provide a kind of basis for developing multiple policy frameworks that are aimed at improving existing systems of support in local contexts, and local being defined very broadly. Well, so that one, I mean, it's kind of there is something that we hope to accomplish with the book, and the only way that I can measure perhaps whether it has helped to contribute in that way is the fact that I have been contacted over the years, and this collection was published in 2015. So occasionally I get notifications, and I also am contacted by scholars from different parts of the world who have worked or cited essays from the collection. I mean, Anya Pamela is one of them. But I know at this point, for example, that the collection has been cited in analyses looking at the lived experience of mothers who are raising peacekeepers, fathered children in Haiti. In studies dealing with intergenerational transmission of trauma in Holodomor and Holocaust survivors' children, for example. I think it was cited in a study done in Spanish, a few studies actually done in Spanish, some done in Turkish, but this one that I'm recalling is about transgressive mothering in women activists in the Chilean post-dictatorship. There was I think someone used it in the context of a study on maternal ambivalence and helping mothers face mixed feelings toward their children in the context of short-term dynamic psychotherapy. So these are some of the contexts that I'm aware of that people have found the book and the essays helpful. It's actually quite surprising that motherhood and as a sort of a mothers and children as a category do not receive sufficient attention, I think, or are not treated as a particular group, given the fact that, well, first of all, we know that over 80% of refugees and displaced persons, for example, are women and children. So this in itself is a huge percentage that indicates the need that when host countries, for example, think about frameworks that are put in place to support such populations are really trauma-informed, survivor-centered, and culturally sensitive, and that look at motherhood as a role that women, it's a very gendered role that women perform for the most part. Um, and also there is a tendency, I think, both in, well, traditionally in research, which is changing with the emergence of motherhood studies and maternal theory, more and more so, and I hope it will continue to change.